So welcome everyone, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. First day of 2019. It's probably the best way to start the new year, with a bit of meditation to cure the hangover. Yes. So it's good to see all of you. So as you know, we are currently discussing how to develop the practice stage by stage. So far we have covered the three preparations, which is posture, breath and attitude. Went through the first stage about settling the body, resting in the body, experiencing the body in different levels, letting go of layers of tension throughout the body, introducing a sense of presence, being here and now, letting go, unwinding, letting go of thinking about future and past. And then that introduces a deeper level of presence, which is the third stage. It's a silence. You're so present, you're so aware of what is happening right now and where your attention is and how it moves, that the mind doesn't need to talk anymore. It just stops talking. That happens gradually, and the mind will not be able to empty itself out if you are buying into the thoughts, if you're continuously if you're interested in the thoughts, let's say it like that, then it can't stop thinking, it will continue. But if we shift our interest and our awareness over to silence and notice that there is such a thing as silence as well, and you have the possibility to observe sounds, for example, or feelings, to such a degree that the mind becomes quiet with it, because you notice all the little tiny details and movements, then that's the third stage. That's proper. Then the mind will empty itself out right there and then. There's just no more point in saying anything. If that deepens, you eventually then need to stabilize your attention. That's why we bring the attention just to the breath. That's stage 4, breathing meditation. Throughout breathing meditation, we also go through various stages to deepen our experience with breathing meditation. But before we go any deeper, which wouldn't make any sense at that time, probably most of you are listening to these talks regularly, somewhere at stage 1, 2, probably trying to get your life in order at some point, so that meditation has more and more of a place in your life, that you practice more often, more regularly, etc. For most people that I know who come here, that's the case. There's only very, very few who actually really practice hard and build a regular practice and have a very strong discipline and so forth right from the beginning. So of course they will develop the stages quicker. For all the rest of us, it takes time, of course, yes. So right now we're discussing all the various tools. I call it the Inner Toolbox. So far we've been discussing the tool of kindness, which is rooted in acceptance and expressed as the wish, may you be happy, or may I be happy and well, may I be truly happy. Kindness is a wish for true happiness. True happiness is characterized by the fact that it comes from you. It is not dependent on other people. It is not dependent on things, the circumstances around. It comes right out of the source of your mind. So it is very harmless happiness. It is a happiness which, when you have it, you do not need to go out in the world and bother other people by asking them for stuff, so you can be happy. You then still do things, but it's not anymore for the sake of happiness. You still do things in the world. There's no expecting the world to make you happy, people to make you happy, things to make you happy, because they simply can't. It's impossible for things and objects to make you happy, actually. But it's very possible to experience true happiness, a happiness which is not dependent on things, objects, people around you, but which is dependent on the way you act internally, how you direct your mind, which kind of decisions and choices you make, right in this very moment, in the present moment. So wishing yourself to experience that kind of harmless and beneficial happiness, that is kindness. Knowing that we all have that potential to make ourselves happy and fulfilled, so we do not have to go out in the world and wage wars and offend one another and fight about this and that and have all this imbalance in the world. Some are extremely rich, most people are completely poor, they have nothing. But all these imbalances, they exist because we're all chasing happiness outside. So it's really important to realize that true happiness is on the inside, and it is dependent on right action on the inside, which translates to right action on the outside. Compassion, on the other hand, which is the next tool in the toolbox, is what kindness experiences when it encounters suffering. So whenever you're encountering suffering, you have the wish for yourself or others to be happy or truly happy, then naturally you start to care and you understand. Also, compassion is based on an understanding of suffering. You properly comprehend the way suffering operates within yourself and within other people, by understanding that suffering is not something that happens to you, but it is something that you do. Suffering is something you do. Usually most people think it's something happens to them, but it's something that you do with your mind, and the doing is so subtle, it's so habitual, we don't see it, we don't recognize it. And so by changing what we do, we can change the experience of suffering or happiness in our lives. But first you have to see that you're making yourself suffer. Nobody else does that. And when you see that clearly, then you can relate to other people. You see, yeah, they're doing it too. And they can't help it. Just like I can't help it. When something happens to you, you get angry. You can't help it. You can't choose in that moment not to be angry. You're angry already. So it's about accepting that, which is kindness, and then understanding that this anger arises and it makes you suffer, and then developing the sincere wish, may I be free from suffering. Then you take action based on that. So this is compassion, both in wish, as a potential, and as an action, expressing that wish. In short, the first tool is kindness, may I be happy. Second one is compassion, may I be free from suffering. The third tool in the toolbox, it's we're discussing that today. It's called Mudita. Mudita means something like sympathetic joy or empathetic joy. The ability to rejoice in someone's happiness. So, in essence, sympathetic joy is what kindness feels when it encounters happiness. Compassion is what kindness experiences when it encounters suffering. Sympathetic joy when it encounters happiness. When you see someone being happy, are you able to feel happy for them? Now, let's say it's a friend of yours and they experience success at work. Can you feel happy for them? And very often, how long do you feel happy for them? We're talking about a friend, right? Very often we don't really pay attention to their happiness long enough. We experience it relatively shortly. It's like, oh great, wonderful, that's nice for you. You got a promotion at your job, oh great. In that moment, I would like you to, when that happens next time, really look at your experience. Do you feel the same joy that your friend feels right now? But you could. And that's something that you could practice, actually. There's something to practice, to rejoice in the happiness that your friends are experiencing. How about people that you don't know? It's more difficult. People that just walk down the street and you see a guy finding money or something like that. Maybe something better. Maybe you see somebody helping an old man cross the street. Like a young person taking time to help that person cross the street. You see that. Do you feel happy? And do you actually pause for a moment and cultivate feeling happy for that? Actually taking the time to dwell there and to appreciate it fully. What just happens is what we all want in this world. We all want a better world. We want to experience happiness. Yet when it happens right in front of your eyes, you often don't pay attention at all. When the good things happen, we hardly ever look long enough to experience a little bit of joy. But that's really important. Now, even more difficult than some stranger doing something nice, what about your enemies having success? People that you hate, people that you don't like, and they experience happiness and joy. Can you feel happy for them? Right then and there, their mind is in a wholesome state. It is in a good state. If their mind was in a good state more often, then you wouldn't have conflict with them. We wouldn't have problems with people because they are happy. We have problems with people because we suffer. And we share our suffering with one another. Alright? That's why we have problems. That's why enemies exist. That's why people that you don't like exist. And so, to training, even going further, can you wish or can you rejoice in whatever amount of happiness there is in this world? And can you practice that? Well, the answer is, of course, yes, you can. Would you do that? Would you actually go and start practicing that? Getting out there and really cultivating, looking at the good. Just last weekend or so, I was with Pan. I was in Central Festival. We were just walking through Central Festival, and then Pan suddenly mentioned, she said, "Oh wow, I've just seen a lady walking by and I judged her in a negative way. Like she wore some outfit or something which looked really weird or something like that, and then Pan judged her and she said, wow, I judged her negatively." And then she also said, "I wonder why I'm constantly doing this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to see other people, and I want to feel something bad about them and look at their faults and mistakes and look at what I don't like about them." And so we started talking about this a little bit, and then we made it an exercise that day to walk through the shopping mall, because you see a lot of people, and actually to look at things that you like, that you find nice. And you bet this is really difficult. And it's really easy actually to find things that you don't like about other people. And we had to look really hard to find things that are actually nice about others. And why is that? It's a simple habit. Some people ask, why are we doing that? Why are we like this? Because we're so habituated to that. To look for the problem, to look for what's wrong, to find fault, to look at mistakes. And you see all these habits in our mind, they make us miserable. Like looking at what's wrong with other people does not make you feel good, it makes you feel bad. It pulls you down ever so slightly. In fact, every time you see a fault about someone else, you're shooting into your own leg. How do you say that? Is that anyway something you say? Shooting into one's own leg. Shooting yourself in the foot. That's the one. Thanks. I was looking for that one. You're shooting yourself in your own foot. Yeah. We're hurting ourselves. Every time you're looking down on someone else, you're hurting yourself. No matter how just you think you are. Even with the things that we think we are very justified with that. That's usually even worse. It's just wasted time to look at the faults of this world and to complain about them. Yeah, sure, there are people who are messing up things. And yes, there are people who are acting in really bad ways. These things do exist. But they do exist because our mind is dwelling with the negative so much. It's dwelling with the problems. And how do we start to actually integrate this tool of mudita, or sympathetic joy, into our own practice? When you sit in meditation, you have no one to look at and rejoice in, right? Yes, you do. You have yourself. And how do you relate to your own little successes? How do you relate to the moments when things work out well in your practice? How do you feel about yourself when you actually did the practice? Even though you didn't really want to, but you still did it. You still sat down and made the effort to train the mind and make the world a better place through your actions. Well, how do you relate to that at the end of the session? How do you feel about yourself having done that? How do you feel about your little good actions every day? Do you even notice them? Like by the end of the day when you go to bed, do you even notice that you have done well? And what was it that you've done well? Like just reflect back on today since you woke up. Now it's 11 a.m. here. So, since you woke up, have there been a few things that you've done well? What might that have been? Say again? Coming here, yes, all right. That's a good decision, yes. For example, I can easily rejoice in your smile. You have a wonderful smile. And you've been smiling for a few times. Now, you look tired as well, but you've been smiling as well. So I look at the smile and I enjoy that. I'm rejoicing in your happiness. Obviously, it's an expression of you experiencing something nice in that moment, which comes out through the smile. So now I'm looking back at myself, making the decision, first of all, to rejoice in his smile. Second of all, to notice that I did well there. And then 3, that I pointed it out, giving some more occasions for more smiling. I see it doesn't stop even there, like this. So we want to see that and acknowledge that. So here, I did well. And you did well. You shifted your mind in ways that were good for you, beneficial for you. Does that make sense? So this is exactly how you want to practice. And you start with basic stuff. Don't go to the high, advanced, whatever, oh, I can only rejoice in people if they're absolutely perfect. Forget it. There's no such thing, but point out in your own mind ways in which you benefit yourself, in which you truly benefit yourself. You have to think, you have to know, actually, what is it that benefits me? And what is it that harms me? Because in this world, the big problem is that we got it twisted very often. We think of things that are actually harmful as being beneficial, and we think of things that are actually beneficial as being harmful. There's many examples of that. Lying, stealing. A thief thinks of what they do as beneficial. It benefits me, so I do it. They don't think, oh, what I'm doing right now is harming me and others in the long run. They don't think that. They think this is going to benefit me. You see what I mean? That's the way we got it twisted many times. Oh, I need to shout at him or her so that they finally get it. No. The louder you shout, the more they want to close their ears and run away from you. That's another example of me shouting at someone will solve the problem. No, it makes the problem. Makes it bigger. War. A war is a bigger example. It's a group of people going together with fighting and killing another group of people, thinking that what they do will cause peace. It's absurd. It's totally absurd. I wonder how we can still do this, because it's obviously absurd. It's obviously what nobody desires. So there's a lot of examples like this, that where we are doing things in the hope that they give us benefit, but they're actually harmful actions. So we need someone to point out clearly, so here are actions that are beneficial for you, and here are actions that are harmful for you, to make a clear distinction. Now, what is clearly beneficial is if you're kind to yourself, if you're practicing meditation. That is a big benefit if you do it well, if you do it properly. There's no question. You're sitting down and you're allowing yourself to become calm and relaxed. Every time you help someone else out of a motivation of kindness, may they be happy, may they be well. That is a wonderful action. Every time you help someone out of the motivation of compassion, may they be free from suffering and distress. May I help them to be free from suffering and distress. And then you act based on that wish. Every time you're sincere and honest, it is very, very clever, it's very good. Every time you avoid taking a life, no matter how small it is a positive action. Every time you take a life, no matter how small, it is a negative action. So avoiding things that are negative and cultivating things that are positive, all this is something worthwhile of rejoicing in. If you see that within others too, let's say someone saves a bee that fell into their orange juice, or an ant that is trapped somewhere on a little sugary spot on the table or something, and they help that ant. They're not just killing it or brushing it off, injuring it, hurting it, but they're actually caring for another being, no matter how small. It is an expression of their mind. And it is a very special kind of mind that does that. It is unusual when you see someone like not smacking the mosquito, but just blowing them away or something like that, then putting on some mosquito spray afterwards. The thing is, you say it's impossible, I say it is possible. These things are possible, yes? So it is very possible to be kind. On no matter what kind of level, it is very possible to be compassionate and respectful, no matter on what kind of level. And to see that more and more in your daily life and to rejoice in it within yourself and within others. That is the practice of sympathetic joy. In the practice of meditation itself, how you integrate it is by seeing the moves that you make in your mind. Every second you make moves, you make decisions. Every second in your meditation practice, you make micro decisions to move the mind there, to move it back to the breath, to notice when you're getting distracted, to bring it back, to notice that actively and to rejoice in that. Because it is skillful action, it is good action. It is benefiting you on the long run. So this is how to practice that kind of skill, that kind of toolbox. I see a lot of people who practice meditation, but they're unable to enjoy their progress because they're constantly looking at what's not working out yet. I'm too distracted. Well, notice that you're getting better and you're getting better. Notice that you're distracted and you're getting more distracted. What you're paying attention to is also what you feed. So if you want to see more positive in the world, rejoice in the positive. Because you're not only just paying attention to what's good, you're supporting your attention with emotion. You feel happy about it. So yeah, the exercise for this week then would be to integrate the practice of mudita into your daily activities. Whenever you see something nice, point it out. And something more I would like to say about rejoicing. Don't feel fear to express this to other people, what they do good. Like if you get a good meal in a restaurant and you enjoyed your time, send your compliments to the chef. It's a little bother, you have to actually say these things to the waitress, etc., and you have to get over this shyness maybe to say something good to someone else, but do it and your life will transform. I'll tell you, one thing that people want the most is to be appreciated. We all want that. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Sympathetic joy means you are appreciating someone. And if you do that sincerely, I'm not talking about flattery. Nobody likes that. I'm talking about sincerely appreciating someone. Honestly, seeing what they do well and then pointing it out. It will get you a lot of happiness in life, and people around you will enjoy you a lot. You'll get opportunities, things will just fall into your lap. Why? Because people like you. And so 1,000 good forces will always be at your side and carry you through life. Because you're well liked. And it's easy to be well liked if you appreciate people. This is a life changer. That's a big one. Just practice that. Just see what happens in just 1 week of appreciating some 3 people or what every day. Let them know that you appreciate them, that you like them, that they do something that you admire sincerely. Let them know. And watch your life change. See how you feel at nightfall when you close your eyes and go to sleep. See what you dream about. See how you wake up. And have fun with it. It's the whole point. You want to have fun with this kind of stuff. Integrate it. Enjoy it. Alright, so I appreciate all of you for coming today. Weird. No, it was very nice. Thank you very much. Yes. So have a wonderful day and Happy New Year. And yes, if you want to come again this Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you very much.